As the world speculates on the divorce of China's air shares billionaires and their hefty settlements, these tycoons are cashing in billions in assets, seemingly preparing to abscond. Among the most prominent are the high-profile divorce case of Zhou Hongyi, the chairman of internet company Qihoo 360, and Xu Jiayin, the chairman of the Evergrande Group. On April 4th, Qihoo announced that Chairman Zhou Hongyi and his wife Hu Huan ended their 25-year marriage. It's reported that Hu Huan neither held positions within Qihoo 360 nor its subsidiaries nor participated in the company's operations. Due to the divorce, Zhou transferred approximately 6.25% of the company's shares, totaling 447 million shares, to Hu, who previously didn't hold any. Based on the closing price on the announcement day, the shares Hu received were valued at around 9 billion RMB, $1.25 billion US. By June 5th, with a closing price of $15.5 per share, Hu's settlement saw an increase of over 2 billion RMB. Meanwhile, Zhou retained only 5.24% of the shares, but his position as the controlling shareholder remains unchanged. After the divorce announcement, Qihoo 360 market capitalization dropped by 8 billion RMB. On the evening of August 14th, Evergrande announced that Xu Jiayin's wife, Ding Yumei, was referred to as an independent third party, separate from the company and its affiliates, rather than being listed as Xu's spouse, as was customary. As an independent party, Ding Yumei subscribed to 417 million shares of Evergrande New Energy Auto. Together, these amounted to about 573 million shares of Evergrande New Energy Auto. If we calculate based on the closing price of 1.73 Hong Kong dollars per share on August 15, the value of these shares is roughly 991 million Hong Kong dollars. Regarding this divorce, Xu Jiayin and his wife, who once declared the relationship as a model of Evergrande employees, filed for divorce just as Evergrande was about to apply for bankruptcy protection. This move could very likely be a strategic divorce, allowing Ding Yumei to financially separate from Xu and avoid Evergrande's massive debts. In addition to Zhou Hongyi and Xu Jiayin, at least 10 A-shares billionaires have divorced this year, with hefty settlements making headlines. In late May, Zhen Xianqi, a shareholder of Shenzhen Kexin Communication Technology, announced his divorce. Holding 5.16% of the company's total shares, he transferred all of his 5.4 million circulating shares unconditionally to his ex-wife, Li Xiyu. This move allowed Li, who previously held no company shares, to own 2.6% of the company's shares. On June 20th, Tang Zhuang and Yi Gebing made a divorce announcement. As one of the actual shareholders of Maxan Technologies, Tang transferred the majority of his shares, constituting 6.14% of the total share capital, to his ex-wife. Based on the closing price that day, Yi received assets worth around 3.4 billion RMB. Despite the share reduction, Tang remained the controlling shareholder of the company, but the company's share price plummeted by over 6% the day after the announcement. On the evening of August 25th, Max Unitech announced that the major shareholder and one of the actual controllers, Fan Kaishu and Wu Jinghua, had finalized their divorce. The divorce agreement stipulated that Fan intended to transfer 7,026,300 of his company shares, 4.48% of the company's total share capital, to Wu. Following his transfer, Fan's shareholding percentage dropped to 5.76%. Based on Max Unitech closing price of 18.77 yuan per share on the 25th, Wu Jinghua's separated shares were worth approximately 132 million RMB. On the evening of September 15th, Yan Yaqi, the chairman of Sichuan Guoguang Agrochemical, and Hu Lixia formalized their divorce. According to their agreement, Yang intended to transfer approximately 20 billion company shares to Hu, accounting for about 4.7% of the company's shares. Based on the closing price of 10.98 yuan per share on September 15th, Hu Lixia settlement shares were worth approximately 225 million RMB. However, the divorce case that took the crown was between the couple of Red Avenue New Materials. This divorce saw the highest settlement of the year. Liu Dongshen left the marriage with nothing, transferring stocks worth over 14 billion RMB entirely to his ex-wife, Zhang Ning. The company initially controlled by both is now solely under the control of Zhang. So far this year, no divorce settlements among air share market billionaires have surpassed a record set in 2020. In that year, the vaccine empire Du Weiming divorced Yuan Liping, who received shares of Shenzhen Kaitan Biological Products valued at 23.5 billion RMB at the time. They subsequently cashed out a significant portion at the stock's peak. Chinese media have been summarizing this year's divorce among A-share listed companies, in addition to the previously mentioned Qihoo 360, Maxen Technologies, Red Avenue New Materials, and Kexin Communication Technologies. Other companies like Forbon Technology, Huitian Adhesive Enterprise, and Secote Precision saw major shareholders with more than 5% ownership split their shares upon divorcing. Combined, these high-profile divorces involved assets totaling around 28.5 billion RMB. There's been a lot of speculation online about this surge in billionaires divorcing. An online blogger commented,
AI doesn't understand love. Who would have thought the biggest side effect of AI is divorce? Just as we investors were grappling with the A-shares market downturn, the leading AI sector triggered a wave of divorce fever. 9 major AI company shareholders have divorced this year. You might think it's about shattered relationships, but in reality, it's about creating wealth. Following divorce comes share splitting, then possible share reductions and cash outs. Anything less than a few billion is a wasted divorce. Recently, the leading semiconductor company Maxen Technologies announced a hefty divorce settlement. One of its controlling shareholders, Mr. Tang, transferred over 80 of his shares, worth over 3 billion yuan, to his ex-wife. On the same day, another prominent ex-wife also made an appearance. Kunlun Tech announced that the ex-wife of its controlling shareholder intended to cash out 3% of her shares, which amounts to over 2 billion yuan. This cash out is said to help the company relieve financial pressure, with half of it loaned to the company at an annual interest rate of 2.5%. This transforms equity directly into debt, reminiscent of Li.com's Jiayin. Some suggest that the A-shares market should introduce a divorce concept stock. Let's see just how many families AI can break. Others recall the divorce of Qihoo 360's Zhou Hongyi. The timing of the divorce was right when AI was booming and share prices were soaring. When he did, he handed over shares worth 9 billion yuan to his ex-wife. Some call it genuine cash-out, fake divorce. After the divorce announcement, Qihoo 360's share price fell by 37% in 2 months. Given that AI has become a dummy printing machine and heated the capital market, it has broken up at least 9 top executive marriages. Does the end of AI signify divorce? If that's the case, the recent A-shares market downturn makes sense, as its contribution to preserving family harmony is huge.
The companies involved in this year's divorce cases are primarily AI-related concept stocks. This year, the AI and technology sectors have witnessed investment booms and skyrocketing stock prices, providing shareholders with optimal exit opportunities. Nearly all the divorces occurred after stock prices surged due to the AI concept. This is impeccable timing, has led to public speculation that the divorces are fake, but the shares reductions are real. In response, the China Securities Regulatory Commission, CSRC, stepped in to curb this divorce or cash-out trend. The CSRC issued a statement stipulating that major shareholders, controlling shareholders, and those holding more than 5% of the shares, and senior managers of listed companies must not evade share reduction restrictions by using divorce, dissolution, or any other means. In the case of share distribution due to divorce, all parties should continuously comply with the relevant regulations. The CSRC warns that violators will be dealt with seriously. However, netizens responded with skepticism. Some commented read, "Today they're prohibiting divorces. Will they prohibit marriage tomorrow? What right do they have to interfere in this? They set so many game rules restricting both companies and investors. Is it just to exploit more?" The public, whilst shocked by these hefty divorce settlements, is also curious as to why so many wealthy individuals in China are divorcing en masse. Li Yingming, a commentator residing in Japan, explained the phenomenon on the media on June 24th. In China, major shareholders of listed companies can't easily reduce their shares due to strict regulations by the government's regulatory bodies. However, if these major shareholders, mostly males, transfer their shares to their divorced wives, these women aren't bound by the same restrictions and can easily cash out. This strategy is likely the primary motive behind such moves. Professor Xie Tian from the University of South Carolina Aiken School of Business holds a similar view. He believes that while some of the shares market billionaires' divorces might be due to genuine relationship breakdowns, there are clear indications that some are using it as a workaround for share reduction. After divorce, it's easier to evade certain risks or audits and to cash out more easily. Netizens have shared their perspectives on how shares billionaires reduce their holdings and cash out through divorce.
Cashing out through divorce is a common maneuver on the international capital market. While the law can regulate transactions, it can't determine love. The focus is often around the 5% ownership threshold. Owning more than 5% classifies you as a major shareholder, which comes with strict regulations on reducing holdings and disclosing information. However, founders usually hold more than just a meager percentage, at least over 10%. Through agreement-based transfers, like property division during divorce, the recipient share cannot be less than 5%. So what's the point if most divorced couples still end up as major shareholders? Individually, it might not make much sense, but for joint assets, it's hugely significant. Without a prenuptial agreement, both parties are seen as joint beneficiaries, regardless of who holds the shares or whether they hold a seat on the board. So the reduction in family assets due to divorce is limited to no more than 1% of the company's total shares through centralized bidding in 90 consecutive natural days, and no more than 2% through block trades. In theory, that allows for a maximum annual reduction of 15% per party. After a divorce, this doubles, allowing for a theoretical annual reduction of 30% for the joint assets. This speeds up the process without shedding a drop of blood. In front of capital, there's no right or wrong, and even less so in marriage, not love. Maybe these CEOs, trusting that love is stronger than gold, use divorce to reduce their holdings. They believe their jointly created post-marital assets don't need legal protection when love can control them. But where they go wrong is that once listed, there's more trash than treasures. On the other hand, because of market needs and reduced listing thresholds, it's much cheaper for them to list their companies than to acquire others. If there were daily acquisitions and counter-acquisitions like abroad, let's see if these CEOs would be as bold, or if they'd still believe love is stronger than gold. In conclusion, if it was just one or two companies, it's acceptable. But 9, those in technology and capital aren't optimistic about AI's development. At least the overheated market sentiment should be digested by the market itself, not manipulated by them.
One could argue that as major shareholders, if they have no faith in the future of the shares market, then the hype around AI is just bait for investors. Once the time comes and the stock prices rise, they will cash in on the shares of their gain. Regarding why so many billionaires are lining up to divorce and cash out, Professor Xie Tian and commentator Li Yiming have shared their insights. Professor Xie believes that the Chinese socio-economic structure heavily intervened by the Communist Party is the main reason driving these billionaires to cash out in preparation for an exit. In China, the party's intervention in socio-economic affairs manifests in various ways, such as requiring listed companies to have Communist Party branches. Now, with the party frequently harvesting leaks under the various pretexts like anti-corruption campaigns, societal uncertainties abound. Political factors exacerbate anxieties. When small and medium shareholders see these major shareholders divorcing, they worry about potential underlying issues or party investigations prompting them to sell their stocks. This wouldn't be a concern in the US or other Western countries. Increasing numbers of billionaires will continue to divorce. More regulatory restrictions won't help. In a distorted society where communism oppresses capital, people easily become corrupt and forget their roots, leading to fragile emotions, added Professor Xie. Li Yiming, on the other hand, thinks that cashing out isn't these billionaires' ultimate goal. Everything they're doing is merely preparation for absconding. The economic situation in China is deteriorating and many wealthy people are looking to flee, but most of their wealth is tied up in the stock market. To transfer their assets, they need to reduce their holdings and cash out. He added, "The Communist Party ship is sinking. But before it goes under, everyone wants to maximize their gains. Everyone in Chinese society thinks this way."